Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the Wizard and the Gnome. In part 1 we covered rows 1 through to the end of row 11 of the head. In this video we're going to go from rows 12 to the end of row 20, and then after that I'll show you how to finish off the wizard's robe. They're both the same pattern. If you're just here to see how we switch colors, that's done in the very next clip. So grab your crochet hook and let's get started. Moving on to row 12, this is the row where we're going to switch colors. Row 12 is one single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then crochet 2 together, and we're repeating that sequence twice. We're going to switch colors on the very last 2 together. So bring in the color that you're switching to and just lay it there beside you. So go ahead and do your first sequence. One single crochet in the next 4 stitches. When the hole gets smaller like this, very easy to go back into those last stitches that you just crocheted together. Can you see that? How easy that would be? Make sure you're getting into the next stitch of the next row. So one single crochet in the next 4. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, and now crochet 2 together. Now we're going to repeat that one more time. So the only difficult part about this is just hanging on to everything, especially when you're new to amigurumi. So it's just a little bit awkward to hang on to. One single crochet in the next 4. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to crochet 2 together. I'm going to pull out that marker because we're going to land on that. We're going to crochet 2 together, but we're going to switch colors before we complete the stitch. So go in, grab your yarn, pull it through, leave that loop on your hook, grab the yarn, pull it through. Now you have 3 loops. Leave those loops on your hook. Hold the working yarn back here under your finger. Get ready to crochet on with your new color. Hold it back there under the same finger. Now switch fingers. Now pull the new color through those 3 loops. So now we're finished row 12, and we have 10 stitches around. Keep hanging on to those yarn tails until you start the next row. Row 13 is 2 single crochets in each one of those 10 stitches. 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Now you can let go of those yarn tails and get ready to crochet on here. 2 single crochets in the next. 8 more stitches to go. 2 single crochets in the next. That was the 9th stitch and the 10th one. 2 single crochets. Now we're finished row 13 and we have 20 stitches around. We're going to break free from the skin color. So pull it to the last stitch so you don't lose it, and now we're going to knot off these 2 yarn tails. That helps pull up the color change line and helps even it out. So I just put a double knot in there. Now I'm going to cut these up a bit shorter, and I'll leave them tucked inside the head. Now we're going to add our marker. So for this row, go a little bit more slowly because we did put 2 single crochets in each one of those stitches, so they're a little bit more bunched up. So just make sure that you know where your hook is going. Row 14 is 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And 3, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. When you land on the marker, you'll be putting in 2 single crochets. So remember to take your time and watch where your hook is going. I'll continue on. You can pause the video and meet me back here when you land on the marker. I'll finish row 14, and now we have 25 stitches around. Row 15 is 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then repeat that sequence all the way around. When you land on the marker, you'll be putting in 2 single crochets. Now you can pause the video and meet me back here when you land on the marker. Alright guys, we're all finished row 15, and now we have 30 stitches around. We're going to stop and we're going to stuff the head now. You can see quite a bit of a difference in the shape. I take advantage of the acrylic yarn when I'm stuffing the doll, and depending on where you put the eyes, you want to push the stuffing into the sides as you stuff, and it will help shape the doll's head. So like I said, I always like to have the last stitch that is put in the back in the center. Whenever I'm adding eyes or stuffing the doll, then I can imagine that this is the front. Okay, and it's going to take lots of stuffing. And I push the stuffing into the sides as I'm pushing it down. We can stuff more into the head in a few rows from now as well. We just want to get the majority in here. You always want to pay attention to underneath the neck area. That area seems to get understuffed quite often, and people think that their heads are kind of floppy or they're lacking in that shape. So just make sure that you get the stuffing all in that area. I can see the blue yarn tail through there, so I'm just going to pull that down. It'll be hidden by hair anyway, but I'm still going to pull it out of the way. There we go. Alright guys, we'll add our marker. So row 16 through 19 is 1 single crochet in each one of those 30 stitches for 4 rows. So I'm going to continue on with the pattern. You're going to pause the video, and then you can hit play again once you hit the end of row 19. Remember to move your marker at the end of every row, and you should be putting in 1 single crochet when you do land on the marker. 1 single crochet in each one of those 30 stitches for 4 rows. Alright guys, all finished row 19, and we have 1 more row to complete, and then we can break free from the shirt color. I've already done this one because this color is kind of dark. I'm going to show you the next row with the gray one. So row 20 is 1 single crochet in the front loops only for 1 row. So do add your marker, and we're going to work on the front loops only, and remember that's the loop closest to you. 1 single crochet in each one of those front loops. So you can pause the video, I'll meet you back here when we land on the marker. I'm just coming to the end of row 20, put my last single crochet into that front loop, and now we're finished row 20. Now we're going to slip stitch the next front loop and finish off. So just go through the next front loop, pull the yarn through. Instead of yarning over, just pull the first loop through the second loop. And there we've slip stitched. Now we can break free, pull the yarn tail through that loop, bring it down a little ways, and then pull tight. Alright guys, that's the end of the video for the gnome only. If you're doing the wizard, then just hang on. We're going to finish his robe off together in a second. So if you're doing the gnome, then you're going to fast forward the next clip, because that's for the wizard only. Go to the end of the video and look for the little box that pops up on your screen, and it'll take you to part 3, where we're going to continue on making his pants. I'll meet you over there. Alright guys, now we're going to continue on. We're going to finish off the wizard's robe. And some of you are going to wonder why we finished off when we're actually going to be inserting the same color yarn right in the center. And that was because some of you have added eyes and the way you shaped the doll. I just don't want anything to get thrown off center, and it's just easy to insert yarn than have to worry about centering things. So grab your gray yarn, flip the doll upside down, and this is the back of the doll where we finished off, and we're going to look for the center. And you don't have to be precise. Just go to the center, push your hook through. Now we're going to pull our gray yarn through, lay it over your hook. Make sure there's a little bit of yarn that you can work with for the starting yarn tail, so just make that a little bit on the longer side. Pull it through, hang on to that shorter yarn tail in the back, get ready to crochet on. Chain one. In the same stitch that you've chained one, put a single crochet. Now we're going to continue on with a single crochet all the way around. I'm going to speed this up. So I'm just coming to the center of the back, and you can see where we finished off. Don't worry about that. Just do your best to single crochet around that or through it. We're not going to be too worried about stitch count for this part. It doesn't really matter. There you go. See, I just made it over there. I'm going to continue on to where I started. Alright, I'm crocheting back in the front again, and I'm back where I started. See, we're just creating this little opening in the front. Now we're going to work in half double crochets, and we're going to chain two and turn. When you do a half double crochet, you yarn over before going into your stitch. So yarn over, we're going to skip that chain we just made, so those first two chains there, and go into the first stitch of the row. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, next stitch over, yarn over, next stitch, and we're just going to continue this all the way around. So you can pause the video and meet me back here at the end when you get right about here. So I've made it all the way around. Just going to put my last one in. That last one might have been a little bit loose, so you can pull on that yarn tail and straighten it out. Alright, now we're going to chain 2 and turn. Yarn over, going to that first stitch of the row, skipping that chain. Half double crochet in each of those stitches around. You can pause the video and meet me back here at the end. So I'm coming to the last one. Put in my half double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Skipping that chain I just made, I'm going to put a single crochet in each one of those stitches around. You can now pause the video and I'll meet you back here at the end of this row. Alright guys, I've made it around. Now I'm going to slip stitch the very last stitch and finish off. So just go through, pull your yarn through. Instead of yarning over, just pull the first loop through the second loop. Now you can finish off. Leave a little bit of a tail that we can weave in. Pull the yarn tail through that loop and pull tight. This yarn tail, where we inserted the yarn, if it's loose, you can knot it off. So just wrap it around and pull the yarn tail through that loop. My yarn tail's a little bit too short. See what I mean by leaving it long enough to work with? So pull that yarn tail through that loop and then pull tight. There we go. Now we can just leave it hanging for now. We'll tuck it into the piece in the next video. So let's weave in this other yarn tail. So just thread it with your yarn needle and bring it through right through the center of those stitches. Pull it through. Now I'll just weave it up. There we go. And now I can bring it anywhere. I can weave it through a couple more if I wanted to, and just cut free. And the other ones can just stay tucked inside the body. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of part 2. You can click that link that's popping up on your screen and head over to part 3, where I'll show you how to insert the yarn and make the pants for both the wizard and the gnome. I'll meet you over there.